What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. We're here for an episode of Let's Talk Dynasty today. And we got my co-host MFGDs in the building. We're not going to waste any more time. We got week 2 reactions from the NFL season. We're going to keep this short and sweet as we possibly can. But let's get MFGDs in the building, man. War, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm dog tired, but I'm excited to talk about what seems like a rather eventful NFL week, shall I say.
Yeah, it was pretty eventful. I mean, you said your dog tired. We're recording this one late, but we got to get it in no matter what because we got to have this come out tomorrow. But look, man, same thing as last week. It's go through the games, talk about who performed, who didn't. What kind of news came from those games, whether it be injuries or just takeaways that we have. But this time we're going to keep it a little bit more short, a little bit more concise because we went an hour 40 last time. Now we'll
Yeah,
try and keep it. We'll try and keep it an hour 15. So, um, I say let's just start right now off at Thursday night football. And you see, I got the Vikings stuff on, the Vikings everywhere, whatever. The Minnesota Vikings, man, they went on the road to Philadelphia. They lost a very close game there, man. It came down to the wire there in Philadelphia, but it was 28-34 in favor of the Eagles there. Um, and look at me slacking over here. I don't got the box scores pulled up, but I can tell you right now, there was a performer of the week already. TJ Hawkinson went nuts on Thursday night football. 2 touchdowns, made me a lot of money. I had first touchdown bet and anytime touchdown bet for TJ Hawkinson, but he finished this week as your tight end 1. So, I mean, what are your takeaways really from this game here, War, as I pull up this box score?
I mean, you would think with how good T.J. Hawkinson, J.J., just some of these fantasy numbers they put up, you would have thought they won, but they did not get the win there. And but there were some marvelous fantasy football numbers put up in that game.
Yeah, let's just talk about it real quick. Just on the Viking side of the football, Kirk Cousins, 364 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 11 receptions for 159 yards. TJ Hawkinson, we said what he did. And then Jordan Addison had himself a day too. He had 72 yards and a touchdown as well. He's looking pretty good for the Vikes. And as we go over to the other side of the football, Jalen Hurts, a little bit of a modest day, not going to lie, from Jalen Hurts. He had 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But the biggest storyline is DeAndre Swift, 28 carries, 175 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then Devontae Smith, 4 receptions for 131 yards and 1 touchdown. So pretty big days from those guys. I think the only other big takeaway was A.J. Brown was arguing with Jalen Hurts on the sideline towards the end of the game. They were up like 6
He
points, and
was.
he's cussing out Jalen Hurts because he wants the football. So, what do you think, man? What do you think of this?
What, the argument on the sideline?
Yeah.
That was weird, man. That was weird. Like, I thought they were tight. I thought they were
Well,
boys,
and you're
man.
winning the game.
And you're winning. It's weird, man. This season has been weird so far to me. I don't know what to say, man. He's not the only one around the league that's complaining about touches. I'm sure you'll get to that, but yeah, like, I don't know. Here's what I was thinking, and I told one of our mutual friends this. Like, I've since the day Devonta Smith was drafted, I felt like the throne was eventually going to be his, whether A.J. Brown was there or not. So if Devontae is starting to ascend towards, his prime and it's hard to A.J., how is A.J. going to respond to these type of games where he's not the one who's going to be the leading receiver? So, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Something
I
to
mean, I
keep an
think
eye on.
both these dudes are alphas. Devontae Smith's a dog. I think my only other thing that I would say, man, is watching this as a Vikings fan on Thursday night, I didn't have super high hopes going into the game because last year when we went week 2 going off into Philadelphia, we got our asses kicked. So, I didn't have high hopes, but we actually came out, we showed out, and it looked. I mean, this team gave me hope again, man. It looked good. Week 1 after losing to Tampa, I was a little bit like, what the hell is going on here? But
Losing to Tampa will do that to you.
yeah, it'll do that to you, won't it? But I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But the only thing that I would say, man, is when I was watching this game, I am very, very disappointed in KJ Osborne. Like he was dropping every pass. He was it was horrible, man. I think PFF graded him as like one of the worst wide receivers in football right now. And it's been horrific for KJ Osborne. And for some reason, he was still getting snaps over Jordan Addison. I would have to assume that here in week 3, that is going to switch. I would assume that
Yeah.
Jordan Addison is going to start getting those snaps.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. Jordan Addison is a dog, and
Yeah, and
that's all there is to it.
the only other thing, and I'm sure we will talk long just because we're on the Vikings real quick. The other ones won't be this long, but Alexander Madison, man, he obviously hasn't performed very well to start the season, but he was getting some pretty nasty DMs and remarks and things like that from people that he even went out and kind of said like, this ain't cool. And it's like it's crazy. And I know we probably don't gotta say this, but I'm gonna say this because we're a fantasy football show. But like, do not be going into into these NFL players' DMs. Do not be going into their DMs talking about your fantasy football teams. They don't give a fuck about your fantasy team, man. Like, do
Yeah.
not, and you should not care enough about your fantasy team to be going rage DMing these players, bro. That's ridiculous. So don't be doing that. Madison, I hope that whoever said what they said, I hope karma comes back.
Yeah, it ain't that serious, man. I wish these people would get exposed and get they had to get doxxed. I mean, for their for like what they did.
People gonna
Yeah,
lose jobs, man. I mean, they were saying some racist stuff. There was there's some crazy stuff like they want him to kill himself, like all this stuff, man. It's like relax, bro.
not even necessary, man. Look, why you tripping on Madison, dude? I've lost studs in every single league I'm in the last 2 weeks. I got a quarterback that may or may not have a calf injury. Come on now. Like
Yeah.
let's
Let's
just
relax on that.
yeah.
But let's get over to Sunday morning because we have the Sunday morning slate here. And the first game that happened to be on the docket here was the Green Bay Packers went on the road to play the Atlanta Falcons, and they lose in a tight game, 24-25. And so Jordan Love, 151 yards, 3 touchdowns. A.J. Dillon, there was no Aaron Jones in this game. He had 55 yards. And then their leading receiver, Dontavion Wicks. But Jaden Reed scored 2 touchdowns. And then for the Falcons, Desmond Ritter had actually a pretty decent day, 237 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Bijan had 19 carries for 125 yards. And we had Drake London pop back up on the scene, 6 receptions for 67 yards and a touchdown. Still no sights on Kyle Pitts yet. So what's your opinion on these two teams and then where these rosters are heading right now and what these fantasy options are looking like?
I mean, after week 1, the Packers soundly beat the Chicago Bears. A lot of Packers fans had a lot of stuff to say. They had the chest poked out. And then you follow that up next week and lose to Desmond fucking Ritter. And, I have to say this. The Bears very well might start the season 0-6. But we'll look down the street and see if the Packers are going to be like 1-5. So let's just get that out the way. You can't be losing to Desmond Ritter if you want to consider yourself a potential division winner. Can't be losing to Desmond Ritter. I understand that Bijan is out there doing his thing. Whatever. It's still Desmond Ritter. They let Desmond Ritter run in on them. I can't believe Green Bay lost that game. I think the people who said, "Oh yeah, Green Bay is going to be good," I think this is evidence. They beat a really bad, really, really bad Chicago Bears team. And they lost by 1 point to a team that should be more mediocre than they are. So, do any of us think the Falcons are a good team? No. And
No,
you
I don't
lost
think
to them.
so.
So,
Do you
that's
do you think Bijan is the dynasty RB1 at this point?
if people keep getting injured. I mean, yeah, he's the dynasty RB1, but Eckler, Chubb, like if Christian
Saquon
McCaffrey, Saquon, if Christian McCaffrey gets injured, he's going to be the running back one. So
for redraft, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But
redraft, dynasty, all of that.
yeah, man. So I think the big thing, man, is for some reason Matt Collins is the leading wide receiver on this team right now.
That's weird.
It's weird. It's gross. It's nasty. But Bijan just looks really damn good, and I think we knew Bijan was going to be really damn good. And yeah, man, he's checked every box. On the other side of the football, still haven't seen Christian Watson. We've seen no Christian Watson up to this point. But Luke Musgrave has looked okay. Jaden Reed has looked okay. I think a couple other guys have been okay. In fact, Jaden Reed was in my waiver wire video for redraft leagues today. I think when it's all said and done, man, this team is they're a young football team. I think there's some good dynasty options on this team, and I
Yeah.
think we knew that. But at the end of the day, man, like I don't think there's too much from either of these teams for the most part that we're just like in love over for 2023. I mean, Jordan Love is the QB2 in fantasy right now.
That won't last. I'm interested to see who's going to end up being the best group of wide receivers on this team because I don't know. I get Chase Claypool vibes from Christian Watson. I just do.
Fair
Him
enough.
on the sideline wearing whatever hell that is. He caught the glasses he's wearing.
Yeah, the like runner shades or whatever they are.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know, man. He just looked like a TikToker to me. I mean, he does.
He's dressing up when he's going out there.
Yeah, like I don't know. He just has Claypool stench all over him.
Fair. I mean, anyways, let's go over to the next game because this one was a blowout here. We do have the Raiders at the Buffalo Bills. Bills had themselves a day, man. Let's see. Josh Allen, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns. James Cook, 17 carries for 123 yards. Gabe Davis is the leading receiver with 92 yards and a touchdown. And then on the other side of the football, Jimmy G, 185 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Their leading rusher, Trey Tucker, with 1 carry for 34 yards. And Devontae Adams leads them in receiving with 84 yards and a touchdown. But pretty bad day from the Raiders. Josh Jacobs had 9 carries for -2 yards on the day. And just interested to hear your thoughts here about these two teams, man.
I don't have much to say about the Raiders. They're pretty bad. The Bills, they're pretty good. I mean, I know that's an oversimplification of the circumstances, but I don't know. It's just a good team versus a bad team. I don't have too much to say. The usual suspects did their thing. Devontae did his thing. He got a little dinged up. I don't think the Raiders are going to have a good season. I think they'll beat the Packers, but I don't think they'll have a good season. And Josh Allen. He's Josh Allen, man. So
yeah, I know a lot of people were
we're out on him.
really, yeah, we're really talking that crazy stuff after the first week when he threw those picks. But he followed it up with 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 280 yards. Like, I mean, look, man, he's gonna have those days, especially the game. I mean, that game that they played in week 1, like it ended up turning into a game where it was competitive for some reason, and he was throwing the football a little bit more. I don't really know why, but yeah, he went out and he had a day. I don't think there's much more to say about it, but I do think, my biggest takeaway is that James Cook looks really, really good, man. I mean, he had 123 rushing yards, 17 carries on the ground. So if you were out on James Cook as a between the tackle runner, I mean, they're using him as it, and he's excelling. I mean, 7 yards a carry, and they were using him in the passing game too. 4 receptions for 36 yards. It's a pretty good day, man. I mean, he went for a $150 plus all around, and he finished pretty damn high on your fantasy football leagues this week. And then the only other one that I would talk about too is Dalton Kincaid. 5 receptions on 6 targets for 43 yards. Seems to me like they drafted him in the first round for a reason. They're going to use him for a reason. And Kincaid looks to be another one of those receiving weapons that they've been missing over there in Buffalo.
He is officially replacing Cole Kmet in the lineup for one of my teams. So
I started him over Cole Kmet last week in week 2.
yeah,
And I was pretty happy with the result.
and that's not even to say that Cole Kmet has been like horrible.
He's been fine.
He's been fine. I just feel like Kincaid has a 30-point week coming. Like I feel like we're going to get a big Kincaid game here soon.
Well, here's the thing, man. He's putting up these 5-catch 50-yard, 5-catch 40-yard, whatever games, but he hasn't fallen into the end zone yet. And when he falls into the end zone and when he gets that touchdown, he's going to have a week where, like you said, he's going to be tight end 4 on the week or tight end 2 on the week. And at that point, it might just be the Kincaid breakout.
He's pretty much not even the starter right now. So,
Knox had a couple touchdown or a couple red zone targets, and then he had a touchdown. So,
Knox is doing enough to stay in there.
He better. The longer he can hold Kincaid off, the better for him.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's go to this next game here. This is the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. And did you have this on your NFL bingo card here, War, where the Cincinnati Bengals would start off 0-2, and Joe Burrow would throw 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception? He said he retweaked his calf there. Joe Mixon, 13 carries for 59 yards. And then one of my starts of the week, T. Higgins, 8 receptions, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Good day from T. Higgins.
Yeah, T.
Over on the other side of the ball, Lamar Jackson, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gus Edwards led the team at the running back position, 62 yards and a touchdown. And then Nelson Aguilar led them in receiving with 63 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, man. Where do we start? Joe Burrow, he's messed. He's hurt. That's all there is to it. He's hurt, man. He's hurt.
It has to be more serious than they've let on.
The guy's hurt. Joe Burrow, he has to be hurt. And I just get the feeling that the guy is gonna try to play through it, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, what did you tell me in the group chat the other day? You said somebody needs to make him sit.
Yeah. Somebody needs to make him do it, and because I could just see that guy just trying to play through it. Like, they're not even ruling him out right now. They're just saying, like, oh, it's day to day. So, I mean, and even if he does sit out, I can't see them putting him on IR, sitting him out 4 weeks. 4 weeks is probably what they should sit him out for, but we're probably talking about something like a game or two, if that. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
T. Higgins, I knew T. Higgins was going to ball out. What's going on with Jamar Chase? I'll tell you this.
I was going to say,
let me say this.
If you drafted Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase or Joe Mixon, if you've drafted any of those 3, you're not very happy with those picks right now.
I'll say this. This is what I'll say. Historically, when you have a big T. Higgins game, but I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to be under center, but when you've had a big T. Higgins game, there's usually a follow-up, a concerted effort to have a big Jamar Chase game right after. We'll see. Yeah. But if Joe Burrow doesn't play, if they stroll out, what's his name? Who's the guy that said might come in?
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning. Come on, the guy's so bad that he's named after another team in your division. He's not going to produce a big Jamar Chase game.
He's not going to produce a big any game.
Yeah, but then again, like I said, Joe Burrow might say, "F this, I'm playing," and I'm just keeping an eye on it the whole entire time. Tomorrow will be a big indicator about what we're going to see as far as Joe Burrow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I look at the team, man, you pretty much summed it up. It's the volume, the usage we've seen out of Mixon has been positive. The results haven't been good. But I think that's a result of how bad the offense has been lately.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, like you said, if you drafted Chase, you're not very happy with what you've got the first 2 weeks, because I think through 2 weeks right now, don't quote me on the number, but I want to say that I saw something earlier where he was like wide receiver 54 through, the first 2 weeks. So at that point, he's basically been a guy that you can't even start. Like you've been plugging him in and you shouldn't be plugging him in based on the production. So, I mean, that's not me telling you to go sit Jamar Chase. You never sit Jamar Chase. But with that being said, I want to go and talk over about the Baltimore Ravens side of the ball. And I did say on our show, because that was the big question that we had last week during the waivers, was Gus Edwards or Justice Hill. Who should it be? And you and I, we talked about it on Let's Talk Dynasty. And you and I both said we think it was going to be Gus. And I said on the waiver show, I think it was going to be Gus. And it ended up being Gus, at least this week. So we'll see what happens next week. But it did end up being Gus. So I think you can move forward with that. It was, I think, one thing that was unfortunate. I don't know if it's gonna stick. I guarantee it doesn't stick. But one thing that was interesting, at least had me raise an eyebrow, was Mark Andrews steps back into the lineup and Zay Flowers disappears. Because week one, when Mark Andrews wasn't in the lineup, Zay Flowers looked like a superstar. But
Yeah.
Mark Andrews steps into the lineup and Zay Flowers one or 4 catches for 60 yards. He almost led the team in receiving, but he just kind of was another guy out there.
Full disclosure, I offered someone in our league, Drake London. And I gave him a chance, even though Zay was having a bad game. I gave him a chance to still accept it. I waited till the first slate of games was over, and the guy still. So I pulled the trade. Now I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah. Well, and then Drake went on and had a good day.
Yeah, he did. So I mean, you live and you learn.
You live and you learn. I will say in our league there, I am trying to buy low on a specific running back we'll talk about here later. Actually, we did talk about him already. It's the guy that I told you rushed for negative yards yesterday against the Bills. So we'll see what happens there. But let's talk about the other game. This one was a very exciting game. It went into overtime. The Seattle Seahawks went on the road. They played the Detroit Lions. And like I said, goes to overtime. Tyler Lockett scores the game-winning touchdown as he hits the pylon there, as you see in the on the picture. But overall, I think you're pretty happy with pretty much almost anybody in this game. Geno Smith, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, 43 yards, 2 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, 6 catches for 75 yards. Jared Goff, 323 yards, 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery, who did get hurt in this game, so that is of note, is that David Montgomery left the game, 67 yards and a touchdown. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, who also got hurt in this game, had a steel plate added to the bottom of his shoe, and they taped up his toe, which often indicates that he's going to be battling through a turf toe injury, at least for the next couple of weeks. But Amon-Ra, 6 catches, 102 yards. Josh Reynolds, honorable mention here with 2 touchdowns as well. Thoughts?
We're probably wrong about Detroit. They're probably a decent team.
Yeah, I think they're a pretty decent team.
They're probably a decent team. So now that we got that out the way, this is a good game, man. I think once again we kind of wrote Geno off a little bit too soon. Geno didn't, and I was wondering.
He had moments in that game still where it was like, okay, Geno, what the hell are you doing?
I mean, I think that's just going to be the Geno Smith experience overall. I mean, he's probably a mid to low end quarterback too. I mean, you can do a hell of a lot worse than Geno. You can have Kenny Pickett.
You could have Justin Fields.
Yeah, you can. I think that'll turn around though. I mean, we'll get to that.
It was right there. It was right there.
Yeah. I don't know. The Seattle playmakers came out to play today, and not Jackson Smith and Jigba, but I'm fully confident he will.
He's still recovering from that wrist injury, man.
Still recovering from the wrist. Still a rookie. Um, and on the other side of the ball, I mean, are we thinking about? Are we looking ahead? I don't think we have to look too far ahead to Jamo. I mean, by time, but you know what?
We got another month until
The
he's
thing
even.
with Amon Ra, if something's wrong with his foot, like if he's battling like some like plantar fasciitis, or I don't know if I said that right, or plantar fasciitis,
Yeah,
or
yeah, exactly.
what's that other shit
Liz Frank,
that Kobe had? Like, yeah, Kobe have like Liz Frank, or no, that was KD. Um, that BS.
Kobe had the Achilles.
Yeah, I know he had the cat, but I was thinking about KD. KD had that foot problem. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll see, man.
I think, look, man, I said it on my waiver show today. I brought up the Amon Ra thing. It looks like, I mean, they were able to put the steel plate in the shoe, and he kept it rolling for the rest of the game. I mean, it's not like he missed time. You could see a small production dip if he does, keep battling with this. But I think I think Josh Reynolds is low key sneaky over the next month, at least until JMO's back. Josh Reynolds is going to be solid, man. Um,
Yeah,
and so, I mean, he's had 2 really good weeks. He had 66 yards and 2 touchdowns in this one. Two more, things to note, especially as we're talking, dynasty fantasy football. Sam Laporta looks like he's going to be a real receiving weapon in this offense. He had 5 receptions for 6 targets for 63 yards, and holy hell, Jahmyr Gibbs, man. Nothing crazy from Jahmyr yet up to this point. Spoiler alert: he made the rookie report, and so he's made our rookie report 2 weeks in a row. But he led the team in targets. He had 7 catches on 9 targets, and so it really does look like they're going to be using this dude in the passing game, which is great for fantasy football.
it is. I mean, look, maybe we're getting that tight end renaissance. Mine is Michael Mayer. We're getting this tight end renaissance that we talking about. We're talking about Musgrave, Kincaid, Laporta. Like, yeah, maybe we're getting a little tight end friendly around here.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. But our next game here, we did have a Rich and the Colts. They went on the road. They played the Texans. And this game was a lot less competitive than the final scoreboard looks like. What's his name? CJ Stroud had a couple I wouldn't call them garbage time, but he scored 10 points in the fourth quarter. So through 3 quarters here, it was 31-10. Um, but Anthony Richardson, he did get a concussion in this game. He didn't finish the game, but he looked good. He was running the football. He scored 2 touchdowns on the ground. Zach Moss came in, led this team in carries, 88 yards and a touchdown. Michael Pittman still leading the team in receiving yards, 8 receptions for 56 yards. But CJ Stroud, man, he went out and had himself a day a little bit. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. It was a little bit of garbage time points, but um, 384 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Damian Pierce went out and had his best Cam Akers impression with 15 carries for 31 yards. And then Nico Collins, man, I think Nico Collins has been one of the more sneaky surprises of 2023 so far. He had 7 receptions for 146 yards and a touchdown. This is 2 weeks in a row where uh, Nico Collins has been balling.
Yeah, I mean, he's balling, but CJ Stroud is complete ass. He's complete ass.
Oh my gosh, you think so?
Oh yeah, he sucks. He's trash. Man, what a bum. A Rich was doing his damn thing until he got hurt. Nobody cares about either of these backfields. Damon Pierce's stock is plummeting. If you're strolling out Zach Moss to score touchdowns for you, you got a big problem. Um, that's pretty much that's pretty much my report of that game. I mean, how dull of a game can you watch? The
Uh,
Colts and the Texans.
Look, man, Pittman looked good. Pittman's looked good 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I gotta see it 4 to 5 weeks in a row for me to.
God damn, you're a tough critic.
Wow. Okay, you know what? No, not 4 to 5 great weeks in a row, but like 2 of the 3. There could be a couple of average, like, oh, I got 10 points games, and they're like 5 catches, 50 yards type of situation. Because yeah, Michael Pittman is. I'm not gonna call him Michael Shitman, but because that wouldn't be fair. We just got to see more.
It wouldn't be.
We gotta see more. We gotta have it. Gotta be consistent. I don't even know
Look,
if
man,
Erich is gonna be consistent. We just gotta keep it moving.
it's a contract year for Michael Pittman. I think it's closed, but at least earlier this offseason, and I'm guilty of it too. A guy who's been really pro Pittman in the past. I got pretty negative on Pittman when they drafted Anthony Richardson. And there was a pretty good buy window in there. It looks like if you bought low on Michael Pittman, you might be okay. And
Yeah,
somebody said it best. They said, "Look, worst case scenario is you buy low on Pittman, and then he sucks ass, and he goes and signs a contract with the new team next year and doesn't have to play with Anthony Richardson anymore, or you buy low on Michael Pittman, and then Anthony Richardson is that dude, and then you have Michael Pittman with Anthony Richardson." So it was kind of a win-win situation. Wish
yeah.
I viewed it from that lens a little bit more. I would have got a couple more Michael Pittman shares, but um, is what it is, man. I think overall, these two teams, like you said, um, two teams that are trying to keep developing these rookie quarterbacks. Um, I think both guys are fine. I don't think CJ Stroud is as shit as you were talking about, but um, at the end of the day, man, Nico Collins looks good, and Tank Dell, he looked pretty solid in this one as well. 72 yards for and one touchdown. So think both of these guys are pretty decent. Tank's probably worth a stash. Even in redraft leagues, you might be able to stash him at the end of your bench and see what happens over the next couple weeks. But I'm not spending a bunch of money to go get Tank Dell on my rosters yet.
Are you spending money to get any of the Texans on your roster right now? I mean,
Well,
they're bomb.
if Nico Collins for some reason is on your waiver wire,
He
you should
shouldn't be a
spend.
waiver. He shouldn't be on the waiver wire. I wasn't even thinking about Nico Collins. He's
Yeah, I
at
was gonna
worst
say.
a bench player at worst.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he's for some reason on your waiver wire, then you should be spending fab to go get him because he's been balling. Tank, I'd throw a dollar or two. I mean, we play with $100 budget. I'd throw a dollar or two if you really wanted to get him. But at the end of the day, I'm the type of guy that like I would put $0 on Jaden Reed, $0 on Tank Dell, $0 on Marvin Mims, and just see which one lands on my roster at the end of the day.
That's actually the smart approach.
Yeah. So
That's actually
um,
the smart approach.
maybe a sneak peek into what's happening in our waivers tonight. But with that being said, let's go
Maybe
over to this next game. We had the Kansas City Chiefs go on the road and play in Jacksonville.
that
Uh,
game was abysmal.
this was the return of Travis Kelce. And it did kind of get saved by a touchdown. I'm not going to lie, because Travis Kelce went out there and put up a line of, what was it, 4 catches for 26 yards and a touchdown. Not great. Pat Mahomes, he had 305 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pacheco, 12 carries, 70 yards. Hey, Sky Moore showed up, 3 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Let's see that continue. Trevor Lawrence on the other side of the football, 216 yards, 0 passing touchdowns from Trevor Lawrence in this game. Travis Etienne, 12 carries for 40 yards. Christian Kirk, the leading receiver, 11 receptions for 110 yards. And that pretty much sums up the day, man. Not a lot of scoring here, 17-9.
Sky, sky, sky. More. Yes, Sky
See?
Moore did the damn thing. Thank God. I was gonna cut him, and he stepped
Well,
up.
he
That
gave
game was
everybody.
horrible, though, man. That game was the drizzling shits. Um, it was just horrible, man. Like Trevor Lawrence, what a way to shit the bed this week. I mean, if there weren't other quarterbacks, namely the guy you rivaled with all throughout your childhood, that shit the bed even harder, we would definitely be looking at you as the drizzling this week.
I think
I don't
the
know, man.
problem is too is this was projected to be the highest game total of the weekend. Like
Yes,
it had a
yes.
51 point high over under, and they go out there and they put up 26 combined points. So they only got half of the points that they were projected as the game total.
God, please, if you're up there, if you can hear me, please, God, have this Kansas City team be the one to show up next week against the Bears. Like I don't want to lose 50-0. That might that might send Justin
I
Fields into
I
the
just got a
void of no
feeling
return.
you saying that right now just made me feel like we have one of those 2-3 touchdown Travis Kelsey days that is going to come up. He's going to be running all over the damn field. Um, but I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I think there's not too much to take. If you have the Calvin Ridleys, the Travis Etiennes, the Trevor Lawrences, you're whatever. Bad week, write it off. It doesn't matter. Put them back in the lineup next week. I'm not too worried about it right now. Um, other than that, hey, look, man, we need somebody to become a wide receiver in this room for the Chiefs, and it's good to see Sky Moore have a solid day. So I want to
I'm
see
rolling
him
with Scott,
tag.
man. I'm rolling with Scott. I'm rolling with Scott. I think
We've
Scott's
been
still.
pro Sky. We've been pro Sky all off season. I want to see him tag a couple more of these on though, as the next couple weeks roll out.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So it is what it is, man. Let's go over. This is going to be your favorite game to talk about. We do have the Chicago Bears on the road
All
at the
right,
Tampa
let's
Bay
get it.
Buccaneers, and you guys lost 17-27 in this game. Justin Fields, 211 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Khalil Herbert leads the team in rushing, 7 carries for 35 yards, and then DJ Moore, 6 receptions for 104 yards. On the opposite side of the football, Baker Mayfield, 317 yards and a touchdown. Rashad White, 17 carries, 73 yards and a touchdown. And then Mike Evans continues to do Mike Evans things every year for the last decade. 6 receptions, 171 yards and a touchdown. So, War, talk to me about these Bears.
I'm going to start talking about the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield right now. Baker Mayfield is kind of a dude right now. I mean, we love Baker around here. Um, thank you, Baker, for not rubbing it in the Bears' face that you were destroying them this past Sunday. That's a really classy by Baker Mayfield, by a real dude, Baker Mayfield. With Baker Mayfield fans around, I think I might get a Baker
The guy's
Mayfield
guy.
jersey.
The guy's
Yeah, he's
guy,
the
Baker
guy's
Mayfield.
guy. I feel like, I was a big Johnny Manziel guy, and that didn't work out. And, Baker is the next best thing to Johnny Manziel. Um, Mike Evans, man, I sold Mike Evans for like a third round pick in one league. Now, granted, I'm super rebuilding in that league, super rebuilding. Like,
You couldn't
I
get a
have
second?
Rashad. I know, man. I might have got a second. I don't know. Third seems a little bit. That feels a little
It seems
goofy.
real low.
Yeah. But I did sell Thielen before once upon a time. I've committed some real big fantasy crimes. We'll talk about that one day.
One day.
Um,
Maybe it'll be an episode down the
yeah,
road.
fantasy
Off
crime.
season episode.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Crimes of
Uh,
War or something like that. I
yeah,
don't know.
war crimes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Rashad White, he had a decent game. Where's Chris Godwin? I don't know. And no tight end for Tampa Bay actually exists. Um, so I say that so I could just save the rest of this for the team that was on the other side of the ball. I'm going to go top. No, I'm going to go bottom to top. Let's start the wide receivers. Show of hands, who would have thought the lone wide receiver to get a touchdown this week, if I'm not mistaken, was Chase Claypool. Raise your hand if you thought that was going to be it. I did. Yes.
What the
I
hell?
thought I actually considered starting Chase Claypool this week, just on the strength that I heard a little bird tell me that he was going to get a lot of targets this week, but he got a red zone target. I mean, look, Chase Claypool probably deserves to be on the NFL roster, but I think at this point, I would feel a lot more comfortable if he was my fourth wide receiver.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean,
Um,
I know there's still spots available in the Canadian Football League.
yeah, yeah, and he is Mapletron, so get marketed
Home
pretty
sweet
good out
home.
there. Yeah. Um, then we have Darnell Mooney. I mean, he's just going to be a boom or bust guy all season. I mean, he's like, I don't know. I don't even want to compare him to nobody. He's just one of those dudes to keep on your bench. Let's just leave it like that. DJ Moore, I think the way DJ was this game, I think this is the DJ you'll get most of the season. He'll catch 4 balls. He'll have 20 to 30-yard gains on each of them. And some weeks he may or may not score a touchdown. That's going to be the DJ Moore experience if this continues to be the Justin Fields experience. I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. Trust me. I'm getting. You talked about your Vikings.
You're good.
I'm getting there.
You're
I'm
good.
saving Fields for last.
You haven't touched on
Rashawn
the backs.
Johnson. Yeah. Dante Foreman. If he's on your roster, you can go ahead and drop him now. It's over for him. Rashawn Johnson is probably either the 1A or 1B running back at this point. Khalil Herbert is hanging on by a thread. If you look at all the fantasy trends, Roshan's getting added, Khalil's getting dropped. I had one of our fantasy league members offer me Khalil for $20 a fab today. That wasn't happening. I wouldn't trade $5 a fab for Khalil Herbert. I'm not going to trade for a guy that I know is about to lose his job.
2 to 3 weeks away, you say? 2 to 3 weeks before the swap happens?
Yeah, we're there. This is knocking on death's door. Roshan's going to get in there. But here's the thing. In order for Roshan to start balling a little bit more, we're going to need to see some development from this guy. So, okay. Oh, man, this is going to be a tough. Okay.
Buckle down.
Got to go dark for this. Let me talk to you. And I got to do this Stephen A. Smith style. Let me talk to you.
I can't get that dark. I tried to turn the light off. It didn't get that dark.
Let me talk to you about Justin Skylar Fields. Justin, the fuck are you doing? The fuck are you doing? I'm watching, you know what? I've defended you for a couple, and I'm still not completely out on it. Let me touch this light on. You gotta look in my eyes. God damn it. You gotta look in my eyes. Justin, get your shit together. We ain't playing, man. We ain't playing no more. You're out here, you're pump faking, and you get sacked. There's an open guy right there. There's an open guy right there. Then throw the goddamn ball. Throw the ball, man. What you scared of? The ball ain't gonna come back and hit you. Throw it. It ain't gonna come back. It's not a boomerang. It's not gonna come back and hit you. And then you're not running. You're not running. There's guys chasing you, and you're getting caught because you're not running. Justin, man, you look like New England Patriots Cam Newton right now. He's your mentor. He's your mentor. You don't gotta be like him. You don't. Luke Getsy, I know me and Andrew just made a whole deal about not getting in people's DMs and they're not taking to say, Luke Getsy, if you don't start letting Justin Fields run, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Whoop your ass, Luke. If I see you, I'm gonna whoop your ass because you're killing them. I feel like the dude on the damn Apollo Creed, they're throwing the towel. He's getting killed out there. He's like fucking Errol Spence. Like, he needs to goddamn run. Let him play his game. But some of it is his fault. Justin, if you don't do this, if you don't turn this around, take your ass to Atlanta. Take your ass back home to Atlanta. Play for the fucking Falcons. And I'm upset with you because I know you could do better than this. What's good? Tell us what's wrong, Justin. Blink twice if you need help. Blink. Just blink. You out there. How you see? I don't even know if you're seeing ghosts. Because if you were seeing ghosts, you would run. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say, man. Goddamn.
That being said, I don't know if there's much left for me to say. Mike Evans is really goddamn good at football, and that's what I'm going to summarize this shit up to be. Baker Mayfield, guy's guy, love the guy. Let's keep rooting for the guy. Hopefully, how freaking cool would it be if Baker Mayfield wins the NFC South? How freaking cool would it be? One thing I do want to note, and this is a little side note. I put this in our group chat last night. I'm just going to read this off while we're talking Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield in 2023, 490 passing touchdowns this year so far, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 104.4 passer rating, all on a $4 million contract. You know that guy that they got rid of Baker Mayfield for? His name is Deshaun Watson.
Oh, man.
He has 389 passing yards, about 100 less than Baker. 2 touchdowns, it's 1 less than Baker. 2 interceptions, 2 more than Baker Mayfield. A 69.1 passer rating, which is about 45 points lower than Baker Mayfield. And he's being paid $230 million fully guaranteed for the rest of his contract, which is about $225 million more than Baker Mayfield. So I just think it's funny. The irony of that is so hilarious to me because I thought the Browns did Baker dirty, but it is what it is. Anyways, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's just move on to the next game. We've been here too long. Chargers, they went on the road. They played the Titans, and these guys lost. And I'm upset because I have faith in Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has been a my guy for me, and I've been pumping up Justin Herbert, and they go out and they keep losing these goddamn games. This was in overtime here. Herbert had 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has the most passing yards in the NFL for any player that has 0 interceptions. More yards, more touchdowns than any guy without turning the football over, and somehow they're 0-2. Joshua Kelly, he had 13 carries for 39 yards. Keenan Allen, another one of my starts of the week. If you listen to my starts of the week this week, you probably had a pretty good day at the fantasy football in your fantasy football leagues. Keenan Allen, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, the other side of the football, let's talk about it. Pretty, they won, but it wasn't like pretty for fantasy football by any means. Ryan Tannehill, 246 yards, a touchdown. Henry, he did his thing, 80 yards, a touchdown. And then their leading receiver, Treylon Burks, 3 catches for 70 yards. Hopkins was kind of MIA in this one war. He was recovering from an injury, 4 catches for 40 yards. But all said and done, what are your thoughts here on this game and on these teams?
I love the Chargers, like their pieces. Herbert, Keenan Allen. I wish Eckler was out there balling, but I digress. The Titans, they're just a dull fantasy franchise, in my opinion. I mean, except for when Derrick Henry is going off. Passing wise, I mean, Westbrook Akine was come on, man. I don't know. If you watch this game from a fantasy perspective, you're only thinking about Justin Herbert and the I was going to say San Diego and the Chargers.
Yeah, Keenan had a day. I mean, think really, if you were watching, you were excited. A lot of people started Joshua Kelly though, because Joshua Kelly was a hot waiver pickup. Eckler out, and Joshua Kelly disappointed.
Yeah, he did, and I knew that was going to happen. That's why I didn't put in a waiver wire claim for him in our league.
I put one in, and I started him, and I lost. So that might tell you how that went. Um, but with that being said, man, I think one thing that's not being shown on the box score and not being talked about is I talked about it last week, War. I'm going to talk about it again. My guy, Tajay Spears. He looks freaking good, man. He looks good. He had 8 carries for 50 yards, and then he caught both of his targets, went for another 10 yards there. He actually out snapped Derrick Henry, even though Derrick Henry heavily out carried him. But it looks like Tajay Spears is on the field, man. Like they're putting him on the field. He's playing a lot on the field, and he looks good when he plays. Turns out that I guess he's one of the rare people that, if you remember the early draft cycle, they were talking. He fell in the draft because he didn't have an ACL, or they took the ACL out of his knee or some shit. But
Yeah.
turns out you don't need one. Doesn't matter if you're Tajay Spears. So probably not good for his long-term longevity, but at least this year you don't need one. So anyways, I did want to bring you that up because I think Tajay's been doing his thing. So let's go to this.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
I was gonna say let's go to this next one because this was the what the hell kind of game of the week, and this was the New York Giants at the Arizona Cardinals. And going into halftime in this game, it was 20-0 in favor of the Cardinals, and the Giants scored 31 second half points. I think somebody might have called in and said, "Hey, Arizona, you guys are supposed to be tanking for Caleb, right?" And that's when somebody upstairs shut that shit down. So the Cardinals ended up throwing the rest of that game. But Danny Jones, man, we need to talk about it. And I apologize because we did not talk about Keenan Allen in the last one, but he is the performance of the week. So I apologize for that one. But Keenan Allen balled the hell out. And while we are here, you know who else balled the hell out, man? It was Danny Jones. He was the quarterback one this week, 31.7 fantasy points. He had 32 or 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he looked scared, for a full half. But the second half, he went off. Saquon Barkley, 63 yards and a touchdown. Unfortunately, he got hurt in this game. Questionable to play here on Thursday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers. And then Jalen Hyatt, 2 receptions for 89 yards. But over on the other side of the ball, guys, I was wrong. Guys, I missed. And I apologize if you sat James Conner because I told you should, because I thought that the Arizona Cardinals were going to be playing down and playing catch-up ball the whole rest of the game. Turns out they were up for a whole half. So I apologize if you sat him. He had a good day, 106 yards and a touchdown. And other than that, War, not a lot of other shit to talk about in this game. But I just want to hear your thoughts on this one. And more so, how are you feeling about Danny Jones at this point in the season? And what is your thoughts on this Saquon injury? That's really what I want to know.
Daniel Jones, man, I wish I would have picked up Daniel Jones in the league, to be honest. But I thought he was gone. And I wouldn't mind having the shares. Saquon getting hurt, man. Oh man, that's tough, dude. It's the whole deal with the running backs getting injured is tough, man. I don't think the Giants have a viable backup option either. Like Matt Breida is like 500 years old. Like the Giants have no receiving options whatsoever. It's just I don't know, man.
Yeah, man, we didn't get as much as we wanted, I guess, out of Darren Waller in this game. I mean, it's not like he had a bad day. He had 76 yards, but they bring Darren Waller over here, and in a game where Daniel Jones throws for almost 350, it's like we'd like to see Darren Waller kind of be the center point of this offense, man, and it didn't feel like he was. So I think that's interesting. Hopefully, that's not because of the injury that he's been dealing with. I know he said he's been dealing with the hamstring, but really all because of that. How do you feel about these receiving options for the Cardinals, man? I mean, I know there's a couple guys in here that people actually do care about, like the Hollywood Browns, the Trey McBrides, like for your dynasty leagues, Michael Wilson. I mean, how are you viewing Hollywood Brown right now?
Right now, I'm not viewing Hollywood Brown. He's rosterable, but
You're
I just
choosing to
don't
look the
believe.
other way.
Yeah, just because I just don't think Joshua Dobbs is a real person. It's like a figment of our imagination.
What was
I'm
that
because
lady in the airplane? That motherfucker back there is not real.
yeah. Dumb. Don't even get me started. Um, yeah, I don't think Joshua Dobbs is a real person, dog. I mean, I know we ain't talking about the Joshua Dobbs that played for Tennessee that was the backup on the Pittsburgh Steelers. We can't be talking about that Joshua Dobbs. Like, we can't be talking
That
about
was
him.
also a backup on the. He was
Jags?
also a backup on the Jags and a backup on the Browns and a backup on the other. Like this man's
Yeah,
played around the goddamn league.
we can't be talking unless he having like some type of Josh McCown level resurgence or something. I'm
This
not
is
rushing to pick up no goddamn Joshua Dobbs and put him on my fantasy team.
well, I will tell you the bad news here, War. If you have Joshua Dobbs, he's outscored Joe Burrow up to this point in the season. So, um, take that with what you will.
Okay, come on, Andrew, come on. Let's cut the crap here. Let's cut the crap. There's things going on that we know isn't going to last. Justin Fields is not going to stay the worst quarterback in the NFL. Neither is Joe Burrow. Like, a lot of this stuff that's happening right now, by week 5, we're going to look back on and be like, oh, okay. Now, don't get me wrong, not to go back to the Bears. That team's a dog shit team. They're going to be bad regardless. And Phil's still going to put up great fantasy points. And he still might lose his job. So, I mean,
Yeah.
none of that stuff matters. Joe Burrow is going to be a Pro Bowler again. He's going to lead the team to the playoffs again. Like, and we're going to look back at this point of the season, be like, wow, we really for a second thought about Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah. I don't think Joshua Dobbs is a long term answer to anything. I just was making fun. But
We're going to
with
see
that being
Chandler
said,
McKee sooner or later.
yeah, I mean, hell, maybe Kyler's back this year. I don't know, but I don't see
Oh,
what
I keep
reason why they
forgetting
would.
about Kyler.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go to this next game, man, because we did have the San Francisco 49ers. They went on the road and played at the Rams. This is a Rams team, Ward, that we were out on, and they actually look a little bit better than we thought they would be as well. But they lose 30-23. In this game, Brock Purdy had 206 yards, 0 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey still looks like the bionic man. He has 116 yards and a touchdown in this game. Debo Samuel leads the team in receiving yards. Brandon Ayuk got injured in this game. He got banged up a little bit. Matt Stafford, 307 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Kyron Williams, surprising at the just before the game, Cam Akers is a inactive, so Kyron Williams gets the full workload, 52 yards and a touchdown here. Looking like he's going to probably be the running back for the Rams for the rest of the year at least. And then look, man, we talked about it last week. We need to talk about it again. Puka freaking Nakua, 15 receptions, 147 yards. He now holds the NFL record for the most receptions by a rookie in their first 2 games in the NFL. So, War, thoughts on these teams, man?
Is his name Kyron or is he my Gyron? Okay, that's what we should be asking. Kyron, my Gyron. Wow, who would have thought that the guy with the horrible measurables, undersized, from Notre Dame, who star
Slow
fell from
40.
heaven, slow 40, star fell from heaven last season. Surprised he's even on the NFL roster, is actually starting games and making noise and looks a hell of a lot better than Cam Akers. I don't know. Kyron could be a league winner, man. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you.
You said
Um,
it earlier. You said raise your hand if you thought Chase Claypool was going to score. Well, raise your hand if you thought Cam Akers sucked ass.
yes, I think he sucks.
Okay, because I don't like Cam
Uh,
Akers.
Matthew Stafford, we're just gonna put him in a box. We don't care. Puka Nakua, honestly, I don't care about it. Like, I'll be completely honest. If he was on my team, I would be looking to sell that motherfucker, man. just for the
I've been
highest
seeing him
dollar.
going for like first round picks in dynasty leagues. Like people
Yeah.
getting
Oh
first round
man,
picks.
I wish I had a share of them so I could sell them for first because the minute Cooper Cup steps back on that field, Tutu Atwell's gonna put on his tutu and ballet dance off into the sunset, and Puka Nakua is gonna turn to Josh Reynolds, and that's gonna be that.
All right,
Uh,
I want to share this with you, Ward, because I saw this the other day and it drove me nuts. Um, Puka Nakua on Keep Trade Cut, which we've talked about previously this offseason. This is community based rankings. The community votes on the community votes on players, who they would choose, who they would keep, who they would cut, blah 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 blah. It creates rankings. Puka Nakua right now is the wide receiver 20 in Dynasty Fantasy Football. He's a top 20 wide receiver. Puka Nakua is more valuable on Keep Trade Cut than the following wide receivers: Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Jahan Dotson, Debo Samuel, Michael Pittman, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Christian Watson, Quentin Johnson, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans. He's more valuable than all those guys. In fact, they have Puka Nakua about 1 7-catch game away from surpassing Drake London and Calvin Ridley.
well, what can we say?
Sell.
Sell that. We can say sell.
And look, let me give you the other side of the glass, because I do think Puka Nakua is a good wide receiver. He's a good wide receiver. I will say that. He's a good wide receiver. He is not Drake London. He is not Calvin Ridley. He's having a good run. But if you think that Puka Nakua is better than Cooper Kupp, which is what he's being evaluated as on this rankings right now, if you think he's better than Cooper Kupp, then Cooper Kupp coming back will have zero effect on Puka, right? Well,
Right?
if Puka has an effect when Cooper Kupp comes back, you missed your sell window, because Puka will not be valued top 20.
No. Absolutely not.
How far down? I got to ask you this, War. I know this. We're going to go long on this one because we're talking Puka, but I got to ask you, how far down are you trading Puka? Like, if I said Puka Nakua or JMO,
That's a tough one.
I take Puka.
I'll probably take Puka. I'll take Puka plus.
Puka or Treylon Burks?
Puka.
Okay. Puka or Nico Collins?
Puka.
Puka or Quentin Johnston?
Now we start to get to the. I'll probably take it Quentin Johnson.
Jordan Addison?
Yeah, we're in the we're in the
We're
not
not in
taking
that.
Puka territory.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, you're taking both of those guys over Puka?
Yeah, at the end of the day, Puka was undrafted or drafted like in the late rounds.
Yeah, so he's being valued right now in the top 20. Where that range was that you just stopped me at, that's like wide receiver 37.
Yeah.
So you have him about 15 lower than where he's at right now, which means you can get a pretty good come up if you sell Puka Nakua. Because I promise you, there's some people in your leagues that are going crazy for Puka, and you could probably sell him to them for the whole mortgage.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
anyways, it is what it is. Let's go to the next game. We have a couple left. I know, it's late. We're late. Well, yeah, blah blah blah. Anyways,
Well, I'll tell you right now, if the next one is Broncos Commanders, this needs to be a 30. Okay. I mean, this
it's
really ain't
it's
worth talking
Jets
about
at
either.
Cowboys. Jets 10 points.
Uh,
Cowboys 30 points. In this game, we had Zach Wilson 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. He led the team in rushing yards as well with 36. And Garrett Wilson had 2 catches, saved by the bell. He had like a 60-something yard touchdown on a second catch. So he saved his fantasy day for the most part. But it was looking grim, man. It was looking bad, and that's what I feared with Zach Wilson under the quarterback position. But on the other side of the football, Dak Prescott, he looked pretty good, man. 31 for 38 on completions, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pollard had 25 carries for 72 yards, and then CeeDee Lamb, 11 receptions for 143 yards.
CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, you know, Garrett
Good,
Wilson,
good, good.
Garrett Wilson, red shirt him. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say
Yeah,
about this one.
I was going
It
to say
wasn't not
Dak,
too much to.
Dak good, Pollard good, Lamb good. Start him every week. Zach, he's gonna. I don't even know if he's gonna be the Jets starter by week 8. And then Garrett Wilson, it sucks, man. In all fairness, if you sat Garrett Wilson, because I told you to sit Garrett Wilson, because I did tell you to sit Garrett Wilson in week 2, you probably are like, Andrew, you were wrong about that one. But when you go and look at how he got his points, we got bailed. But for
Yeah,
the
this
most
isn't
part,
the
man,
same as me benching Drake London last week, which is what I did.
yeah,
Ritter looked so bad that I decided I was going to redshirt him, but now he's back in the lineup. So, because now I said, okay, he will have some weeks where he's not looking like somebody who needs to be saved. Gary Wilson, I don't think he'll have that luxury. He'll have some games where he does good, but it'll be in
he's
spite of Zach Wilson.
he's going to have to do what he did this week, and that's make a big play after catching a very short pass from Zach Wilson. Like, he's going to have to make a big play. Now, let's talk about the running back position for the Jets, because there were some guys tweeting that, they only had 4 carries and they lost because they didn't get
Brees
more
Hall, yeah.
carries. And yeah, Brees Hall had 4 carries for 9 yards. And then funny, Dalvin Cook had 4 carries for 7 yards. So they combined for their really good backfield combined for 8 carries for like 16 yards.
I mean, it's a modicum of truth to what he said. Zach Wilson is trash. They're going to have to play defense and be a run first offense. That's like those guys should be combining for like 30 to 35 touches a game.
Here's
Those
the
two
thing though,
running
man,
backs.
like when you play these games, it's tough, right? Because like you're playing against the Cowboys get up on you so quickly, you can't just run the football at this point. You're behind. You have to pass the football. And now you're in a bad position because now Zach Wilson has to pass the football and now he has 3 interceptions. So it's like you're in a lose-lose game most of these times, because you either need to score first and then just milk the clock for like 4 quarters, or you have to get in a shootout with Zach Wilson playing quarterback, and it sucks. So it's like, the Jets season is looking so grim, and it sucks, man, because they look like they were going to have a pretty good year with Rodgers and the Hard Knocks and all the other stuff. But at the end of the day, man, this is same old New York Jet shit that keeps happening every fucking year.
Yep.
So, anyways, you said you were going to go to sleep, I think, with this one. No, I'm just kidding. It was the Commanders at the Broncos, 35-33. It actually was a pretty decent game.
That's a beefy ass score though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this was the highest score of the week, I think. Maybe outside of the Lions and the Seahawks, but Sam Howell 299 and 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson, speaking of performances of the week, Brian Robinson finishes the RB1 in week 2, 28.9 points. He had 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. Terry McLaurin had a touchdown. Russell Wilson on the other side of the football, 308 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also led that team in rushing yards with 56 rushing yards. And then Marvin Mims, 2 catches for 113 yards and a touchdown. What are your thoughts here, War?
I don't know. I definitely did not expect that from either of those teams. Those are my exact thoughts. I think with both of those teams, you just gotta wait and see. But I'm gonna let you go in depth on this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, Howell kind of can sling it. Like, I mean, I think we've seen 2 weeks in a row now. He got in a shootout with the Cardinals last week. He got in a shootout now with the Broncos. Howell, he can kind of sling the football. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a franchise quarterback, but so far it's so good, I would say, for Sam Howell. They're 2-0 now, right? So, like, I don't know, man. He looks decent. Eric Bieniemy is also calling some pretty good offense there, but Brian Robinson's looked pretty good as well. when it's all said and done, man, when I look at this game, really those are my key takeaways. But I think Brian Robinson, I'm saying this, while I want to pump the brakes a little bit, but I think Brian Robinson up to this point is probably a high end RB2 for your lineups almost every week.
Hmm.
Last week,
Maybe.
last week he had 20 or last week he had 14 points in PPR. This week he had 28. He's currently the RB3 in PPR leagues. He's looking all right, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens. They seem to use him a lot on the goal line. But with that being said, Judy came back first game back from being hurt. He looked like he was in his first game back from being hurt. Nothing special there. 3 catches for 25 yards. But more to come from these two teams. I think Russell Wilson is looking a little bit better each and every week under Sean Payton. I don't know if we're ever going to get Russ back, Mr. Unlimited, but we are going to get Russ Mini. I don't know, whatever it's going to be. I couldn't think of something good there. Sorry, it's too late. But at the end of the day, man, that is what it is. So you have anything, or is that it?
That's it.
That's it. Well, let's go to
Y'all
Sunday
got
Night
nothing. I
Football, man.
mean, yeah, Commanders just like make me tune out.
Let's go to Sunday Night Football then, because they got some players. Dolphins, they go to New England on the road. They win. Tyreek Hill, coming off that big game in week 1, he actually had a kind of modest day. Bill Belichick does a good job keeping him under control. But Tua Tagovailoa, man, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Raheem Mostert had himself a day, 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. I told you guys to sit him, so sorry there. Can't tell you much other than that. But Jalen Waddle, he had 4 receptions for 86 yards. Mac Jones, 231 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Ramondre Stevenson, 50 yards and 1 touchdown. And then the leading receiver for the Patriots, Devontae Parker, 6 receptions for 57 yards. So Hunter Henry scored again. Anything really from this game that you want to talk about, War?
I think it sucked that Jalen Waddle had to go to the concussion protocol.
Yeah.
I think that I think this should bring some logic to the whole is Mac Jones the second coming, because I think a lot of people were getting a little bit too hype after week 1. I mean, more than likely you're going to get
Back to
20
earth.
points up, 20 points games out of the Patriots. The Dolphins didn't go off too much, but they're going against Bill Belichick. Tua, I still think Tua's a stud. I still think that offense is a stud. Raheem Mostert is probably going to put up good numbers until he gets hurt. And yeah, man, I think that's pretty much what I got for it.
Yeah, man. Little news piece for you. Tua Tagovailoa is the current favorite over on DraftKings Sportsbook to win the MVP. So Tua is the current favorite. So that's hey, he's been balling so far.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens as they continue to go on, but I don't think there's much more other than there. I do have one question for you, War, and you can just say yes or no. Is Devon A-Chain droppable in redraft leagues at this point?
Yes. But do you want to be the person who dropped Devon A-Chain when Raheem Mostert gets injured?
I don't know, man. We're a few weeks from Jeff Wilson coming back, though.
I don't think Jeff Wilson. I mean, he'll take some touches, but I've never felt like Jeff Wilson was a legitimate threat to Mostert. I think every season Mostert plays is like he's a stud until he gets hurt. If Raheem Mostert never got hurt, he would be one of the top running backs in the NFL,
Yeah,
bar none. But
yeah,
he gets hurt every year. We wait for it. So I mean, maybe A-Chain is droppable because if Jeff Wilson is there, he's probably starting over A-Chain. So
yeah. He might. But I don't know, man. I thought I'd ask. But then we had 2 Monday night games, and so we'll talk about these 2 Monday night games. We'll get to our rookie report, and then we'll get the hell out of here. But we did have the Saints. They went on the road to play the Panthers. 20-17 was the end score there. Bryce Young almost hit him with the little comeback, almost. But 228 yards and one interception from Derek Carr. So bad day from Carr there, no touchdowns. Taysom Hill led the team in rushing yards after Jamal Williams got hurt. He had 9 carries for 75 yards. And then Chris Olave had 6 receptions for 86 yards. And he should have had a touchdown too, but he stepped out. And then Bryce Young on the other side of the ball, 153 yards, 1 touchdown. Miles Sanders, 14 carries, 43 yards. And then Adam Thielen, 7 receptions, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Any thoughts here on this game? It was pretty slow, pretty boring for the most part on this one.
This game was buns. I don't know how many different ways I could count and how much this was buns. I mean, there was literally almost nothing notable about anything that took place in this football game, other than the fact that the Panthers are probably going to have a top 5 draft pick. There's nothing entertaining about this game whatsoever. Every player underperformed. I award neither team no points, and may God have mercy on their souls.
A couple people got excited about Tony Jones Jr. You give a shit about Tony Jones?
I don't give a shit about Tony Jones. I don't give a shit about Tommy Lee Jones. I don't give a shit about any of that.
It's
I don't know, Tony the Tiger. I don't give a shit.
A lot of people got excited. I think the reality is that if Kendre Miller was healthy, it would be Kendre Miller that was stepping in there, not Tony Jones.
Let me give you guys a tip. And you could take the tip if you want to, but let me tell you something. If you play sleeper, this is going to mainly apply to you. If the player picture has him wearing a jersey from another team, then he's probably not shit. Because I can tell you, as sure as the sun will set on my ass in the morning, and as sure as the grass is green, that Tony Jones in the sleeper app is wearing a fucking Denver Broncos jersey.
Yeah, they didn't even update the picture, man.
Yeah, because he's nothing. When Kendre Miller returns, he's nothing. When Alvin Kamara returns, he's nothing, and that's getting close. So
yeah,
I mean,
we're a week away from Kamara.
Yeah. So Tony Jones, if you want to be a moron, let me tell you two ways you could be a moron. And I'm sorry, I'm going to do a little spoiler alert here. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But
blowing some fab on Tony Jones.
You could probably figure it out. There's 2 dudes that if you spend a shit ton of your fab this week on getting them on your team, you're a moron. One of them is Tony Jones, and the next one is going to be from the next game we're going to talk about.
You think so? Okay, let's talk about it, man. Let's go to this next game then, because we have the Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in this game, man, Deshaun Watson looked like shit. 235 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The unfortunate of unfortunate things, Nick Chubb, man, suffered a very, very gruesome knee injury. Nothing officially comes out about Nick Chubb at this point yet, but it just doesn't look good, man. I mean, there's people who think that like he might not go play a game of football again. So if you want to go watch that, go find it on your own time. But it's bad, man. It looked bad. So in his place, Jerome Ford, 16 carries, 106 yards, and then Amari Cooper, 7 receptions, 90 yards. Over on the other side of the football, Kenny Pickett, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Najee Harris, he's doing his best Cam Akers impression, or is Cam Akers doing a Najee Harris impression at this point? I'm not really sure, but 10 carries for 43 yards, and then George Pickens, he had 4 catches for 127 and a touchdown. The Steelers, they won this football game. How do you feel about these teams?
How do I feel about the teams?
And then let's talk about what you said, because I disagree with you.
What you want to talk about first, the teams or what I said?
Let's talk about the teams. We'll finish it on that one, and then we'll talk rookie report.
Right now, neither team has a quarterback. Could the quarterbacks get better? I put it to you like this: I have more faith in Kenny Pickett taking a step than I do Deshaun Watson. That's a damn shame. Because at least with Kenny Pickett, I could say, okay, he had the first two teams he had to play were really good defenses. And they're playing the Raiders next week. So that's a get right game for him. Deshaun Watson, you were a superstar. Or shall I say, Bill Cosby. Like, you were a superstar.
I gotta give credit.
Right
I gotta
now,
give credit to Devin Mack for that nickname because Devin Mack is the first person I ever heard called Deshaun Watson Bill Cosby, and I've ran with it ever since.
yeah. Shout out to Dev Mack. Deshaun Watson's trash. I felt like he was trash last season, and he's proven it. Amari Cooper, he's good enough though to get Amari Cooper some points. I'm pissed off because I heard a report saying that Cooper was unlikely to play, so I benched him in one of our leagues, and I missed the median. Son of a bitch.
You know what? It works the other way too, though, because I benched Amari Cooper, and because I had to bench Amari Cooper, I put in Mike Evans, and that's the reason I won.
Yeah, see? On the other side, man, this Steelers receiving, this does not look good. I hope that he can revive these Steelers. I think Calvin Austin is actually good. I'm holding out. I'm reserving judgment until I see how they perform against Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I'm holding out judgment
nice.
to that.
It would be nice to see Deontay Johnson in the lineup because that definitely changes the way the offense runs too.
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna play though.
No, I think they just said
he's on IR.
I think they put him on IR. So,
yeah. So he's not playing. Najee Harris. If you could somehow get a second round pick for him in Dynasty at this point, I'm doing it.
Are you?
Yeah, okay. I'm done. With me, the leash for running backs is really short.
Let's play the game. I'll go down the list of guys ranked similarly or below him, and you tell me when to stop. When you would take Najee over that player. Right now, he's being valued as the running back 23. The player beneath him is Roschon Johnson.
It's funny you say that because I said if I could find somebody in the league that'll give me Roschon Johnson in the second round pick, I'm jumping all over that. So if you guys have Najee and you can get Roschon in the second, do it.
What about Rachaad White?
I'm taking Rachaad White.
Joe Mixon. Zach Charbonnet. Miles Sanders. Tyler Algier.
And we're going to put Najee right there.
Tajay Spears?
We're going to put Najee Harris right after Miles Sanders.
Alvin Kamara is in that tier of players too. I don't know if you take Kamara over him.
I'm taking Kamara over him.
Okay.
Because I think Kamara's
a little bit underpriced right now.
Yeah, I think Kamara's going to do some great things.
It's crazy how reactive this community is at times, man. I'm just looking at this and like Jerome Ford is ranked higher than Zach Charbonnet right now. And Kyron Williams is ranked higher than Joe Mixon right now. And I think that's a little crazy, honestly. But
too soon.
Yeah. But anyways, let's talk Jerome Ford because I just, mentioned where he was at. You said you think you have to be an idiot to put money on Jerome Ford. So talk to me why you think that.
Baby.
Because I said in the video that came out today, I said Jerome Ford is the number one priority waiver ad this week. I said I would be spending my fab on him. I would be using my waiver priority. I said he is the guy that you have to go get in this waiver cycle that's going to hit tonight. So talk to me. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. Okay, here's what I'm saying. If you're going to be one of those guys who's going to go out and spend 25 or so % of your fab on a player, I'm just not doing that with Jerome Ford. I'm sorry. First of all, this team traded for Pierre Strong. And I understand, Pierre Strong, he's trash. He's never proven anything. But here's the thing, man. I would be afraid to spend a lot of fab on Jerome Ford. And then 2 weeks later, when Pierre Strong has more knowledge of the playbook, now they're splitting carries, or now he's outright taking over the backfield. And crazy enough, that's not even my biggest concern with Jerome Ford. I wish it was. It's the fact that the team has already proven that they don't see him as the lead back. It took one day for them to prove that. The minute they said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna," okay, look at it like this. Imagine
Kareem Hunt was in the building today.
Yeah, imagine having a player that you had last year and you had a messy breakup with the player, like, fuck this guy. Having a messy breakup with him, he doesn't like you, you don't like him. Then the next season starts, your stud running back gets hurt, and they feel like they need a running back so bad that they're willing to turn to the guy that they just said to fuck off just this offseason. Jerome Ford, mark my words, Jerome Ford, and it might even be this week. 2 weeks from now, that guy won't be the starting running backs of the Browns. And you could go out there and spend all your fab on him if you want to. I'm not saying you're wrong. Let me tell you how Andrew plays. Andrew said that he's a waiver wire priority this week. I agree. Whoever they bring in the building this week, they're not going to start for the Cleveland Browns. But next week, after you already spent all your money on Jerome Ford, you're going to be wondering, oh, man, why did Andrew tell me to sign him? And then Andrew's going to say, hey, I said that Jerome Ford was a waiver wire priority for week 3. I didn't say week 4, 5, and 6. That's what he's going to say. Okay.
So let me play devil's advocate to this now, because, we're on opposite sides of this argument. So in my opinion, especially in these redraft leagues where you have fab and you have all this stuff that you got to play and you got to win every week, like we need to win weeks to make sure we make playoffs. My strategy is that I save the big bids, the big payouts for running backs. You can get a wide receiver a dime a dozen. We can find them on waiver wires. I mean, I can plug in fucking Josh Reynolds and I can plug in all these other guys for $1 fab like we were talking about and get 10 points out of them if they score a touchdown. The reality is we wait for these opportunities. And not saying that we're wishing injuries on players in fantasy football. Of course, we don't want that. We want the guys who are supposed to be the starters to be the starters. It's more fun for football. It's more fun for everything. At the end of the day, when you have a guy who has a serious injury and they say, gone for the season, that's the moment that you wait for this fab money. That's when you say, okay, now I got to put money down because I can get a player who was being valued as nothing, and now he's being valued here. You need to add impact players to your lineup. I'm not saying that you need to, spend 100% of your fab on Jerome Ford because you have to plug him into your running back 2 line slot this week. Now, if you do have to plug him in, obviously prioritize that and make sure you go get the guy. But most people don't have to do that. But what Jerome Ford gives you the ability to do is, let's say, 3, 4, 5 weeks, he's still the starter down the road. You have an extra guy that your league mates don't have because they didn't spend the money on. You get a advantage over them because of that. Also, you are adding a piece that, let's say he's a flex running back. Well, now you added a flex running back that you can put in a trade package with a wide receiver 3 and maybe get an upgrade at another position. Like it's not just adding the player to plug them in the lineup for that week. You are adding value to a lineup at that point in which you can just make trades, do all the other stuff that you need to do, because you need to have as many good players on your lineup as possible. And if Jerome Ford has the option to be, or the ability to be, a good player, go get the good player. Like, that's just my argument to this. And so I'm like, it's very highly unlikely, but say no other running backs have any serious injuries the rest of the year. What if this is the one? What are you saving your money for? If you have the shot now, take it. Just go get the guy. If you miss, you miss. Fuck it.
Part of this comes from my thought process. I think I already have the guy. I think I have the guy who will be looked at as the waiver wire of the year, the
Kyrie.
waiver ad of the year. Yeah, I think he's the guy. I think
Yeah,
he's the
I mean
guy.
it could be, but I'm saying like you know what I'm saying. Like it's just like it's
But
Nick
Kareem
Chubb's.
Hunt can also be the guy. So I'm
He could
saying
be the
that's a
guy. He
big
could be the
worry.
guy. But as of right now, when waivers are running tonight, he's not on the team. So you have to react to how it is today. It could change tomorrow. So if you gotta, temper your expectations with the bid, and you gotta, like you said, put 25%, put 20%, put 15%, but whatever you want to do, that number is up to you. You have a number in your head, use it. At the end of the day, I know the number I'm using. I won't tell you the number I'm using because I'm getting pretty fucking aggressive with Jerome Ford in our league. But, um, but with that being said, that's my thought process behind it. And yes, I understand Jerome Ford could not be the guy in week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9. There's a chance he could not be the guy. But he's the guy now, and so I'm trying to get that guy on my roster now.
I hear you.
Anyways, let's talk about our rookie report war. This is the week 2 rookie report. Just like we did last week, we'll talk about the top 10 guys. And last week, the number 1 rookie was Puka Nacua. This week, number 1 rookie, Puka Nacua. 30.1 points. CJ Stroud finishes number 2. Bijan Robinson, number 3. Marvin Mims, number 4. Tank Dell, number 5. Jaden Reed, number 6. A. Rich, number 7. Jordan Addison, number 8. Bryce Young, number 9. Jahmyr Gibbs, number 10. And repeat offenders on this list were 2 weeks in a row for Gibbs, 2 weeks in a row for Bryce, 2 weeks in a row for Addison, Richardson, Bijan, Stroud, and Nacua. Newbies, Marvin Mims, Tank Dell, Jaden Reed. Those are the newbies. I mean, what are you taking from this, man? How do you feel about the rookie report so far? How do you feel about the guys that have been developing as your rookies in your leagues right now?
Right now, Puka Nacua is taking the cake. We'll see if he can hold it up, though. If Cooper Cup comes back and he's still that dude, then I'll gladly eat crow.
Yeah, I mean, Puka's looking good, man. I mean, you drafted him probably what, 4th, 5th round in your rookie drafts, and he's 2 weeks in a row he's been the number 1 rookie. So
I think he went. I think he went undrafted in one of our rookie drafts,
I think he did too. And so it's like
and I
it's
had
just
him,
crazy,
and
man.
I think I probably dropped him.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Um, I remember a few weeks like before the season started, I even offered because I heard some buzz about Puka, and I offered Matt what I thought was kind of an overpay at the time. Obviously now it's not an overpay, but I offered him a 3rd round pick for Puka, and I was like, hey man, like you pick this guy up off waivers, bro. Like, let me give you a 3rd round pick. Let me have him. And I wish he would have accepted that shit. But at the end of the day, man, one thing to note, Bijan, he hasn't been number 1, but that motherfucker's been 2 and 3 both these weeks. So Bijan Robinson is just that dude. I think we knew he was going to be that dude, and yeah, he's that dude. He's scoring like 20 points every week right now.
He's there. He's there for sure.
So it is what it is, man. I think that's all I have for us today, man. We didn't really get out as much earlier as we wanted to, but
I know.
that may
God
just
damn
be
it.
that just may be what these shows are throughout the season. It may be an hour and a half instead of an hour. That might be what it is, but we'll keep trying to keep it short and sweet. But I know we like to talk a little bit in the weeds every once in a while. But yeah, man. Do you have anything final thoughts? I guess I'll let you say if you have any final thoughts, and then I have a announcement or a couple other things to say, and then we'll get out of here.
No, man. I don't have anything to say, man. I'm gonna eat, man. I'm gonna do my homework, man. I'm gonna go to sleep.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna go to sleep too. But I appreciate all of you guys that are watching the video. Thank you guys for tuning into the content. We really appreciate it. Every time we hop on here, we talk for 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it may be. Takes time, takes effort. So we really do appreciate you guys tapping in and watching, man. So if you have made it to this point of the video, go ahead and drop down into that little comment section. Let us know you made it. Let us know you part of the gang. And really just hit that like button for us. It's the best way to show our show support. It's the best free way to show our show support. And make sure you're subscribed, man, for more content like this. And then little piece of news for you guys. Um, changes, small changes. It's going to be the same product, but there's going to be a facelift to Let's Talk Dynasty and the channel as a whole. The League FFB has partnered with Underdog Fantasy moving forward. So we have a promo code that you guys can use, and I'll get more into that once we have the actual legal, stuff that we can put on the screen and all the other stuff. But we've made a partnership. Facelifts coming to the channel. And what that means for you guys as viewers and what that means for you guys as supporters is discounts, deposit matches, a whole bunch of benefits. So good things for you guys. No change to the channel though, no change to the content. It's all the same stuff, just a little bit of partnership for you guys. So that is what it is, man. I don't have anything else for you guys. War, we out of here?
We out of here, baby.
All right, man. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.